So, managing anger. Difficult one. Not always easy to manage anger. And some of the time, your anger comes in there too, and that's not going to help it, let's face it. I always say about the parent's role in this is to recognise and say, you know, who sets the tone in the house? And it is the parent. But the reality is, if I'm shouting and roaring and ranting and raving, you know, what tone am I setting in that house? You know, the message I'm sending is, you know, when you get frustrated, make sure you shout good and loud. So what role modelling is that, you know, to children? So managing anger really is about, as far as possible, helping children to manage their feelings. And the only way that I can do that first is through managing my own feelings. So, you know, some of the steps certainly that can work very well is some of the time to take that deep breath to calm down, so that I'm going to respond better to your anger, and then to maybe set a boundary. You know, I can see you're upset. When you calm down, I can talk to you. But I cannot talk to you until you calm down. Now, I want to listen to you once you're calmer. And I want to really, I call it understand. But what I mean by that is I want to get under the stand you're making. You know, because some of the time, your anger, it can be about something that I need to find out, what is this about? So we don't know. It could be about that your younger brother is driving you crazy. It could be about something that happened in school. It could be a myriad of things depending on the age of the child. But one thing I know for sure is there are 4 things that parents can do that make a difference. The one that I've said is listen. Now, listening means I have to stop talking. Listening means I have to try to get that child to describe how they feel. And if they describe how they feel, they might say, I feel really angry, I feel really upset, I feel really disappointed, or whatever it is. So that's kind of getting under the stand they're trying to make. They may not do that immediately, and if that is the case, I have to show a bit of patience. And in that, I have to show compassion. We said earlier, you know, that all challenging behaviours, we think the child is trying to make our life difficult, and we need to see it that it's the opposite. Unconsciously, the child is trying to communicate to me how difficult life is for him or her. And when I see that, well, then I'm going to respond differently. So straight away, I'm going to show compassion. Straight away, I'm going to try and what I call separate child from behaviour. I love you, and that behaviour, I'm finding it difficult. We need to talk about the behaviour. When you calm down and when I calm down, that behaviour is unacceptable. But I'm not going to talk about it until everybody here is calmer. So much of the time in parenting, it's about my role modelling. I can be very angry about your anger, but it's how I respond to your anger. One thing when somebody's angry is you make strong eye contact with them and you don't break it. You maybe don't face on to them because that can be quite confrontational, so maybe stand to the side. But most of all, what you try to do is create relationship. And you recognise that child is in a bad place, they're crying for help. So what help is it that they need? So the 2 key questions are, what is the intention of this behaviour? And some of the time the intention of the behaviour is to get negative attention. And why? Because negative attention is better than no attention. And some of the time they behave negatively, and then I come in and I get cross and I criticize them, okay? And then they behave worse, and then we get into this negative spiral. And it's really about saying, I'm the parent here, this has to stop. So I need to really deal with this behavior differently. And we're going to look at that around various ways of coping with behavior that we find very challenging.